Coming up on College Press Box, Buechele, Ehlinger. Ehlinger, Buechele. We'll break down the Longhorn quarterback controversy. And later, Texas soccer off to its best start in history. A word with special guest Erik Goodman. And highlights from around the nation of another great weekend in college football.
Some long, hard discussions the last couple days offensively about who we are, what's our identity.
In the end, it takes time and it takes talented players.
Good evening and welcome into College Press Box. I'm Luke Hendry, 20th anniversary of this very show. So glad you're joining us this evening. Texas football is coming off its bye week following the loss to USC 2 Saturdays ago. Some have called it a heartbreaking double overtime loss. Others say it may have been the turning point for the Longhorns. One thing for sure is that Tom Herman and the entire coaching staff knows the importance of this bye week. The signs of a great football were displayed at the LA Coliseum, but the ability to grow from it is the Longhorns' focus this week.
For the future of this program, our two losses might be some huge lessons.
Texas, currently 1-2 on the season, will face Iowa State Thursday night in Ames to begin the Big 12 play for this season. Now, the Longhorns are 12-2 all-time against the Cyclones. However, Ames always tends to test Texas. In 2015, if you recall, Iowa State shut out the Longhorns, winning 24-0. And just last season, the Cyclones led Texas at halftime. Now, the Longhorns eventually won 27-6, but the game on Thursday is no pencil-in W for Texas.
Normally on a bye week, we don't introduce the opponent, but because of the short week next week, we felt it necessary to get about 20 minutes of scout work in.
Tom Herman said it there. They're in preparation for no easy test as I welcome in our Big 12 expert and Texas football analyst, Jonathan Polasek. Jonathan, Iowa State on Thursday night's no easy matchup. They're a 6-point underdog, but Texas was a 17-point underdog 2 weeks ago against USC. What challenges does Texas face on Thursday night?
Well, first, a Thursday night test, just a night test in Ames, Iowa, is always tricky for Texas. Like you said, 2 years ago in 2015, Texas went in on Halloween night and came out of that game with a 24-0 loss. I mean, that's just not something, it's not an easy thing to do. Another thing that you have to keep an eye on is the crowd level in Jack Trice Stadium. If Iowa State jumps out early, they could easily rattle a young Longhorn offense. And speaking of offense, this Iowa State offense is nothing to scoff at. They're averaging just over 41 points a game with a revamped passing attack led by Jacob Park. And so what the defense is going to have to do is that front seven is going to have to generate some pressure in order to take the pressure off the secondary, because they're going to have to deal with an NFL talent in Allen Lazard. And another thing is that run defense has to be just as strong as it was against USC. Running back David Montgomery is a threat to take the ball to the house every time he touches it, whether it's running the ball or catching a pass out of the backfield. In essence, this defense is going to have to put up the same effort that they did against USC in order to win this game.
Jonathan, I like what you had to say, especially about the defense. That was some of the hardest playing of a defense for Texas 2 weeks ago at USC. They'll have to try to bring that energy to Ames. As we mentioned earlier in the show, it is a short week, game being on Thursday night, but the quarterback controversy lingers here at Texas. Jonathan, I'll turn to you. Sam Ehlinger or Shane Buechele, who do you like on Thursday night behind the center?
Well, Luke, it can be said that no matter who starts this game against Iowa State, Texas should be able to take home the win. Now, Shane, he has the experience in the hostile environments, but Sam has that tremendous upside, and he nearly pulled off the monumental upset that Texas hasn't seen in so many years. I believe that in the end, Sam Ehlinger should be the starter against Iowa State. He's a much better fit for what Tom Herman and Tim Beck want to do in the offense. I mean, he's able to make all the throws all across the field, and he has the ability to step up into the pocket and deliver a strike when the pocket collapses, or if he wants, he can scramble, escape, pick up some positive yards. That's something that Shane really can't do. And with the offensive line dealing with the depth issues that they're dealing with, and with Connor Williams being out, that escapability, that ability to run as a quarterback is becoming more and more important. And Sam has that ability. I think that he is the better fit, as of right now, to going forward. And another thing, Sam's just not afraid of the big moment. He went toe-to-toe with a Heisman Trophy contending quarterback and potential #1 overall draft pick in Sam Darnold, and nearly led Texas to a win in just his second start.
Sam or Shane, they're both quality quarterbacks. Both of them should be able to get it done against Iowa State. I think Coach Herman and the rest of Texas fans around the world are basically looking for just a quarterback to stick with. In the quarterback controversy, the saga that has lingered since Colt McCoy, we'll see what happens on Thursday night. Now, Texas having the weekend off, other Big 12 teams made some noise. The 16th-ranked TCU Horned Frogs knocked off the 6th-ranked team in the nation, Oklahoma State, 44-31, and Lincoln Riley's Sooners escaped in a close one to Baylor. Jonathan, OU and Oklahoma State were arguably the two best teams in the Big 12 going into this past weekend. They showed some signs of slips, but OU still looks good. Who would you say is the best team in the Big 12 now and could potentially compete for a national championship in January?
You have to remember that it's a long college football season. There are going to be some slip-ups along the road. But until further notice, OU is the team to beat in the Big 12. They have the experienced and proven quarterback in Baker Mayfield, who always seems to come up big in the key situations. Now, TCU beating Oklahoma State the way they did, that was kind of a shock. But that was also classic Gary Patterson defense. The thing is, I'm not sure if they can keep that up throughout the long Big 12 season. If OU and TCU can come through that conference unscathed going into their November 10th matchup, I believe the winner of that game has the best shot of making it into the college football playoffs. But at this point, I believe I have more faith in OU being the better team on the field and making it all the way through the Big 12 conference than I do in TCU.
Overall, Oklahoma 3-0, they do look good. And I think the rest of the entire Sooner team has bought in to Lincoln Riley's scheme. Looks similar to what Bob Stoops had that program looking like when he got there many years ago. As always, Jonathan, thanks so much for coming in tonight. When College Press Box return, we'll highlight some of the other UT sports in action over the weekend. And Texas soccer, 10-0. All that and more next. Welcome back into College Press Box. Luke Hendry joined by Bailey Ambramowitz. Bailey, Texas soccer team awfully looking good this season. 10-0, best start in history. Thoughts on a historic run for Angela Kelly's program?
Well, the team clearly has a lot of potential this year. They're undefeated, and they've beat some of the other teams in the Big 12 for the first time in many years. Kelly has taken this team to the semifinals in 2012 and 2014, and I really think with what we've seen so far, they have the potential to do the same again this year.
Well, before we get to the coverage of the soccer team over the weekend against two conference opponents, Texas golf was in Dallas. The Longhorns are underway in the Trinity Forest Invitational hosted by SMU. 10th-ranked Florida Gators lead by 6 shots at 17 under par. Auburn and North Texas are currently tied second at 11 under. Texas sits in the 4th spot, tied with the defending national champions USC and the 2015 national champions of Oregon. Play will continue tomorrow at Trinity Forest Golf Club.
The men's tennis team played the Cajun Tennis Classic this weekend in Louisiana. Longhorns Rodrigo Banzer, John Meade, Leonardo Tellez, and Colin Marks played in the singles semifinals. The final match was between Meade and Tellez, and Meade took the title 6-3 and 6-3. On the doubles side, Banzer played with Tellez against Texas Tech and defeated them 6-3. It was a clean sweep for Texas in the tournament, and they continue to play next week at the ITA All-American Championships in Tulsa.
As the men were, the women's team was also underway this weekend at the Debbie Southern Fall Classic. Texas senior Danny Wagner and freshman Marta Perez-Murr completed an unblemished weekend of singles and won their respective draw. The Longhorns will continue play at the USTA Pro Circuit event on Friday in Charleston.
Number 6 Texas volleyball defeated West Virginia in their Big 12 opener last week. Sophomore Micaiah White led the Longhorns with her second double-double of the season with 16 kills and a season high of 15 digs. Freshman Ashley Shook had a career high of 53 assists and 10 digs for her 5th double-double of the season. UT took the lead early on in the first set, lost the next 2, and won again in the 4th and 5th sets, ending the match 3-2. The team returns home to host Baylor this Wednesday. Now joining Luke in the studio is our soccer analyst, Erik Goodman.
That's right, Bailey, joined now by the man himself, Erik Goodman, soccer guru. You were out there Friday, watched the Iowa State game, and then once again on Sunday watched it very intently against a highly ranked opponent in West Virginia. Undefeated. This team is good.
This team is good. This team is properly good, and honestly, it might be the best Texas team that I've seen on this campus as long as I've been a student. Got to give credit to volleyball and some of the things they've done, but in as far as my memory, they haven't gone 10-0 in a sport where games don't come around more than twice a week, and this team is just firing on all cylinders in ways that I've never seen them before. And they're really, we heard Angela Kelly say it as we came on air in the show. It just comes down to talent, and it's talent that they have. And if you look at these last 3 games, it really comes down to the defense is just playing out of their skins behind. They're communicating. You've got that happens when you have girls like Chelsea Supri who are playing 90 minutes every single game. She's missed part of the last minute of one game because she picked up a little injury, but other than that, every minute of the game she's been in there. And Texas has just been a rock solid at the back, even against, they've held off the opponents where, when it's a lesser opponent, like we saw this at UT Rio Grande Valley, like that's a lesser opponent. They're going to be the ones to hold back, and Texas is going to have to push the issue. But last night, or on Sunday night for West Virginia came in thinking that they were the better team, 5 in the nation, a semifinal team last year. They expected to push the issue, and Texas just fought every single attack from the defense, and then eventually, you've just got enough quality up top, Texas has, to get that one goal that you need to win these 1-0 tight games.
Some of the fight comes from actually some youth with this program. A few freshmen coming in, adopting Kelly's scheme in their first collegiate season, and a sophomore right now at Texas who is arguably one of the best soccer players in the country.
That's true, and it's a sophomore in Sierra Hinson, of course, that actually didn't play too much in her freshman season. So we can kind of put her alongside Haley Berg, who's been the other shining star for this team, as the newcomers who have just changed everything up front. Haley Berg possibly playing the most important position on any soccer field, which is that attacking midfield spot that takes the transition from the defense and then feeds your wingers and your forwards. She's done that, and she scored herself plenty as well. She scored 3 goals, 2 assists. That's up there near the top of the team in both categories. And she's another one. She's just playing almost every minute of every game. And these are hard-fought games where you're not always on the attacking foot. You're working and you're running. And from the midfield spot, she's running all over the place. And Sierra Hinson, she's just talented. That's as far as what it comes down to. When you see her with the ball, and she'll get a couple opportunities, and she's not burying every opportunity that she gets, but she's at that level where by the time after 90 minutes are played, or sometimes it might take Texas into that overtime session where they've been very successful. She's good for 1 goal a game. It seems like with the service that she's getting and her quality, she's placing these goals. Like these are high quality goals that you just have to score if you expect to be. Texas might now have their eyes definitely on the NCAA tournament and deep in there. But we might see a team that is aspiring to host the NCAA tournament up until the semifinals, and then who knows from there on.
She certainly does bring something special to that Texas program. Erik, it's going to be fun to watch this Texas team 10-0, and they have a chance to continue that streak on Friday against Big 12 opponent Texas Tech. Erik, thanks again for coming on tonight. Absolutely. And when College Press Box returns, our very own Katerina Biancardi takes us beyond the 40 acres to look at College Press Box's top plays of the week. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Unhooked. I'm Katerina Biancardi. We're winding things back to this weekend to a college football showdown in Iowa City. And we have the Penn State Lions taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes. First now in the fourth quarter, we have the quarterback now getting the ball right. Nate Stanley completes to Akron Wadley for a whopping 70 yards touchdown. And that is going to put Iowa State only down by 2. Now still in the fourth quarter, we have Trace McSorley finds Saquon Barkley for that first down. Now I want you to take folks back one more time and see this amazing hurdle by this athlete. What a nice jump that was. Now Penn State's field goal opportunity is blocked by Iowa. Iowa says, not today, baby, not today. Now we have an opportunity for Akron Wadley again. Gets that ball, finds a nice escape all the way, takes it back down for the touchdown. Iowa, though, is going to miss the 2-point conversion opportunity, and there is one more chance for Penn State to get the win. Penn State, Trace McSorley connects with Jaquan Johnson for that touchdown. Iowa's heart is broken, but take a look at that one more time. Nice play execution by Penn State. Nice work right there. Penn State's going to take this one 21-19. 21-19. Now, what we learned in week 4 is that the gap between the favorites and the rest of the field is not as wide as some thought. TCU's blowout of Oklahoma State said, don't count the Horned Frogs out of the Big 12. And Georgia's domination against Mississippi State reminded the SEC that they are still a dog in the fight. But you guys know Alabama still remains the top contender in college football. It's easy to say that it's time to adjust the preconceived notions. And week 5 is going to feature conference matchups across the board. And like last week, I'm sure there's going to be some surprises. Now, folks, we're going to move on to our top 5 plays of the weekend. Starting at number 5, we're going to hit, now a simple bunt should be an easy out. But when a third baseman's opportunity misses and is out of line, it turns into a home run for guys like Brian Dozier. Turns that bunt into a nice home run. Twins beat the Tigers 10-4. Now number 4 play, WNBA Finals, Game 1 here, folks. LA Sparks versus the Minnesota Lynx. 6 seconds left. Sparks point guard Chelsea Gray with the ball shoots and she scores. Let's take a look at that one more time. Off balance jump shot, clutch shot right there by them. Sparks defeat the Lynx 85-84. Now at number 3, we're going to be moving to the college football scene here. Oklahoma has the ball. And we have Abdul Adams season opening, and he's going to escape and take it to the house all the way for the touchdown. Adams runs right into the record books. Now, folks, this is the longest run in OU history for the sophomore. OU takes this one against Baylor in their Big 12 opener. Now, still on the college football train, Big 10 matchup, Rutgers versus Nebraska. Rutgers quarterback Kyle Bowen fires a pass into a tight window. Rutgers tight end Jerome Washington makes a catch of a lifetime. Now, it's first ruled incomplete, but we're going to have to take a look at it one more time, folks, because at a second look, it is an incredible catch. We're going to zoom in one more time right here. Look at that catch right there. It is secured by the tight end's booty. Wow. And a somersault. I give that play a 10 out of 10 right there. Excellent execution right there. And starting at number 1, we're on to the NFL. Houston leads New England. Now, you think teams learn by now, don't give Tom Brady time in the fourth quarter or this will happen. Brady throws a strike to Brandon Cooks for the game-winning touchdown. Pats take this one from the Texans. Incredible catch by Hooks and a smooth execution by Brady. And that is going to be a victory for the Pats. Nice work right there and huge, wonderful execution. And folks, unfortunately, that's all the time we have on Unhooked. Tossing things back to my buddy Luke Henry, where he'll preview what's going on around the 40 acres. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Texas Athletics has yet another full week ahead. On Monday, as we mentioned earlier in the show, men's golf at the Trinity Forest Invitational, women's tennis at the UTSA Pro Circuit event, and on Wednesday, women's volleyball taking on Big 12 rival Baylor. Thursday, women's swimming and diving will have their orange and white competition, and the marquee event of the week, the Thursday night matchup, Texas at Iowa State on ESPN. Good test for Tom Herman and the squad. Friday, men's swimming and diving will continue their orange and white event. Cross country will be at the Joe Pion Notre Dame Invitational, and that all-impressive women's soccer team looks to continue that undefeated streak against Texas Tech. That game can be caught on LHN. Now, before we go, the 2017 PGA Tour season came to a close yesterday at the East Lake Golf Club as Xander Schauffele won the Tour Championship and Justin Thomas captured the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Former Texas golfer Jordan Spieth was once again in contention down the stretch, finishing second in the FedEx Cup standings. Spieth finished the 2017 season with 4 wins, including the Open Championship. He will represent the red, white, and blue this weekend as a member of this year's President's Cup team. That is all we have for you tonight. And once again, thanks so much for joining us. Follow TSTV Sports on social media throughout the year for your latest Longhorn sports coverage. That is at TSTV Sports. And join us right here every Monday night for College Press Box. Also, for some hot takes, College Crossfire with Mark Skoll Jr. airs Wednesdays at 9. For all of us here in studio and Master Control, a special thanks to you for your spending your Monday night with us. Until next time, I'm Luke Hendry. Good night.